So welcome, another Brightwells preview ahead of the May 8th and 9th sales. The classic car sale on the 8th, the online garage on the 9th. We've got a lovely array of cars. Let's have a look at a few of them. Okay, so this is one of the most interesting lots in today's sale. The 1956 Porsche 356A 1600 Cabriolet. Recently unearthed in 2021 after it spent much of the last 40 or 50 years in storage since the mid to late 70s with its second owner who owned the car 62 years. The first owner for just a couple of years, and then the second owner, as we say, 62 years, and our third owner, the vendor, bought it in 2021 as a barn find in its current state and has kept it in storage since, waiting to be restored. He's changed his plans, so hence it's for sale. But what a thing, look at this, completely unmolested, original car, treated with protective oil to protect it by its second owner. Yes, it needs lots of work, but fundamentally it's all here. It's got a different engine in it, still the original type of engine, but not the original one. We have that on a pallet, the crankcase matching numbers, but the interior is all patinated, lovely deep Oxford leather. A nice thing, and restored, it could be a couple of £100,000, so it's in today at £100,000 to 120. What's not to like? Next to it, we have something that's quite similar, based on a 1962 Beetle, but it's a Volkswagen Pilgrim 356 replica, but it's a lot of different values potentially, £18,000 versus £100,000, but for all intents and purposes it looks like the real thing. Okay, it isn't, but it looks like it with an air-cooled Volkswagen engine. But you could buy this done and look like most of it for 18 grand versus 100 to 200,000 pounds, but one's real, one's not. Still pretty cool. Moving on, Porsche-wise, we've got here a 1995 pre-Vari Ram 99311. Unfortunately, it's on offer from a deceased estate, always very sad, but that aside, the car is unmolested, manual, and has only done 41,000 miles. So these things are great news at the moment. This is a really exciting estimate, 45 grand. It'll probably exceed that by quite a considerable amount, given its manual, convertible, pre-Vari Ram 3.6. What a thing. What we have here is a really interesting car, one of just 524 built. This is a 1974 Ferrari 365 GT4, proper garage slash barn find. The vendor has owned it since the early 80s, used it as his everyday car, and then he moved to rural Herefordshire to escape the London scene, basically. He was a very well-known, globally recognised superstar in the Leica cameras. Anyway, so he moved to Herefordshire, extremely rurally, parked it in his garage in 1992, and it hasn't been out since until we exhumed it last week. In fact, the last tax disc is here from 1992. So this is a 4.4 litre front engine V12 GT car, the first of what then became the 400 series, which then changed from 365 to 400. 400i as the car then became fuel injected and then became the 412 in the late 80s, early 90s. A really rare, nice, desirable car, designed by Pininfarina, lovely shape, but a nice thing. And then it was superseded by the drop-dead gorgeous Ferrari 456 GT in 1993. Anyway, that aside, this car sat for the last 32 years, something like that, only to be exhumed now. So if we lift the bonnet, you'll see the state of it is very exciting and also rather daunting, perhaps, because these things aren't cheap to put right. But when it's done, sort of worth about 50 grand. Look at this V12, enormous. What a thing. Lots of work for the next owner, but when it's done, the rewards could be and should be fantastic. Not only as an investment, but also as a driving experience and ownership experience. If you look at this, the back, these early cars have 6 lights, that then changed to 4, quad exhausts, make a great noise. And inside, we see there's 2+2 seating with that lovely manual transmission on a sort of upward slopes. As you change up a hill. Lovely centre knock wheels, just super. Loads and loads and loads of potential, and possibly bills. Thank you, that closed itself. Great thing. And for something a little bit different here now, we're even going to try and get in it without splitting my jeans in the crotch, as I've done before, unfortunately. So here we have a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle base fibre fab long wheelbase kit car. Say kit car, beach buggy is probably the more apt term. Finished in a particularly fetching shade of 80s brown, which actually with the gold fleck in it works really well. So this chap, he couldn't afford a sports car in the early 80s, but he had a Beetle from 1968. So he thought, right, let's build the sports car that I want. So he got a long wheelbase, so you've got rear seats or space for bags. Fibre Fab, an American beach buggy company. Got the kit, put it on his chassis of his Beetle without having to change the chassis as most of them do. Used the original Beetle engine, which has now been changed to a 1200. But he then built it in the 1980s, and he's had it 44 years and went all over Europe, Austria, Germany, France and Italy, all in this beach buggy. What an amazing invention. Chronicled it all in a hardback book which comes with the car. Such was his love affair with the vehicle. He's had it so long, it was an emotional farewell. He's just said, now right, he's had it that long, it's time for somebody else to continue the adventure with the thing. But it sounds superb. It's got a really throaty engine note, goes really well because it doesn't weigh much, and it's on offer at no reserve. What's not to like? It's fantastic. Great fun, especially if you live on the coast. We love stuff like this here because it's quirky, it's cool, it's fun, it sounds good, and it goes well. Epic. All the boxes ticked. So following on from the beach buggy, which is open-topped and noisy and raucous and fun and fast, we've got these three offerings here. The 2016 Caterham that's done the Caterham Academy, 1934 Morgan Barrel Sports with the matchless engine, and the 2008 Robin Hood, Lotus 7 type thing. It's badged as a Caterham, but it's a Robin Hood. Looks very similar to the Caterham over here. This has got a Ford 2-litre Pinto engine, 5-speed manual gearbox, Sparco seats, roll bar, an awful lot of fun. It's in a guide of about £4,000, which seems fantastically appealing compared to the Caterham, which is in about 20 grand. Although having said that's a real one with the 1600 K Series Road Sport engine. It's done the Caterham Academy with our vendor. He's then taken it and done a load of track days all over the country. I think it's only shown about 3,000 miles. And it's in at about 20 grand. Lots of fun. And then next to me here, the 1934 Morgan, as we say, barrel sports car. It's got a 1-litre engine, matchless thing, V-twin. It's had £40,000 worth of work done recently. A hell of a car in at 30 grand. So you've got quite an offering here of extreme-ish sports cars, should you want it, from the beach buggy through to the Morgan, the Caterham and the Robin Hood, at all different price points as well. Very exciting, very appealing. With summer on the doorstep, you'd be mad not to get involved. Again, at Brightwells, we like to go from things like this as the Lost in 7 van, across to the more modern and retro offerings, such as this 2014 Golf R. 3-door hatchback's been stage 2, so the vendor tells us it's about 404 horsepower. It certainly feels like it and sounds like it. Manual transmission, that's in at 14 grand. To the Mark II here, the big bumper Mark II. This is actually a very rare car. It's not a GTI, although it looks like a GTI. This is what's called a 4+E. So it's 5-speed with an economy fifth, 1.3 litre from 20-year ownership, done just 90,000 miles. What a pretty little car. But it's interesting here, you see how the Golf has evolved. Mark I Cabriolet, Mark II, Mark 7. Both 2 doors, all 2 doors, excellent things. If restorations are your thing, we've got this very rare Jensen 541, very rare car, only a few hundred built, requiring restoration. Looks a largely complete example. And then here we have a Jensen Interceptor Mark III, again, largely complete. It's missing its windscreen, but the interior looks to be there. So again, we like to offer all sorts here. Restorations, incomplete cars, complete cars, something for everybody. Here we have a 1998/99 late model E36, one lady owner from new, done just 44,000 miles. That's a very rare thing in itself, an unmolested E36, let alone one owner and 44,000. 2.5 litre manual transmission, straight 6, unmolested. That's it. It's not been molested at all. It's not been modified. Original wheels, suspension, interior. You know, you could do all sorts of this if you wanted to, or leave it alone. You could get this little kiss on the front corner sorted here, but that's it. Nice thing to tuck away. 323, so it's badged to 323, but it's a 2.5, slightly detuned for emissions and road tax, etc. from back in the day. But these are good news. All these E36s, E34s, especially if they're 6-cylinder and manual, great news. Okay, lovely 1972 Beetle 1300 that's been restored. Starts on the button, sounds sweet as a nut. Nice pretty thing there. 08 Volvo C270, done about 64,000. These are very popular, especially in diesel form. They offer everything that you might want from a folding metal roof car. So when Volvo brought this out, they did away with the original convertible and coupe as 2 separate models and just now 1 model because it does everything in the tin. This is interesting. This is a relatively unmolested RS 1600i, been in storage since 2006, so 18 years in storage. It's a great canvas to do whatever you want with because it's unmolested. Showing about 125,000, lovely Recaro seats in it. Good news, these things. When they're tip-top, they're sort of mid to late 20s. This is in at 12 grand. Lots of scope. Another interesting thing next to it, Rover 216 EFI. just as was featured in the TV series Keeping Up Appearances in the 90s. Lovely thing, done sort of 24,000 miles from new. What's not to like? So this is quite a well-known car, featured in many Kelsey media videos on Classics World. They bought it as a project car, done loads to it over the past year. It's a 2008 Bentley Flying Spur in Mulliner spec, which means you get quilted seats, nicer interior in general, better wheels, etc. The 552 horsepower, 6-litre bi-turbo W12. So a very, very fast machine, very capable. A nice car, finished in black. It's got a beautiful interior, as we can see here. Just a lovely thing. It's in at 10 grand. It seems to be an awful lot of car for the money, considering its original owner would have paid over £120,000 for it. Seems rather tempting, if you ask me. So thanks for watching. If this, for example, this lovely Fiat X19, the M635, this Stag, or the old Riley, the TR3, the little frog eye here, if any of these take your fancy, head over to the catalogue for the 8th of May, which is Wednesday for the traditional classics, and Thursday the 9th of May for the online garage, which is for quirky classics from 1980s on, for example. Head over to the catalogue pages or have a look at our socials. That's YouTube, the YouTube Classic Cars channel, or where this is, or our social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Have a look, get in touch. Any questions, email us, phone us, whatever. We're here to help. And the sale kicks off the Saturday before it finishes on the 8th. Have a look. There's something for everybody. Thanks very much. In addition, Brightwells also sell personalised registrations, such as this one, for example. So if you've got a nice plate, you'd like to buy one or sell one, get in touch. We'll give you a personal valuation over the phone. Drop us an email, give us a call, and something like this plate on this car could be yours as an example. We sell it all at Brightwells. Number plates, classic cars, wine, plant machinery, the lot. Get in touch.